Good evening, everyone. So if everyone will take their seats, we'll start. Welcome to the October meeting for the Putnam Republican Club. Glad you all braved the inclement weather to get here. We might have to swim out. I saw some pretty big puddles out there, so I really appreciate everyone coming. We're going to start off our meeting this evening with our prayer. So Cynthia, will you please lead us in prayer?
Father God, we thank you so much for tonight. We thank you for all the people who have come out tonight despite the rain. And we ask you, Lord, to make sure that we all get home safely, that there is no issues getting home. And Father, we just want to give you praise and glory for all the wonderful things you've done for this club, particularly for the Putnam Republican Club. And we ask you, Lord, to take charge tonight and lead us in the directions that this club should go. And Father, we want to lift up our guest speaker tonight, Dr. Wendy Mussoline. We ask you to bless her with her words tonight. And we thank you for all of that. And Father, we just give you praise and glory for all that you've done. We want to lift up our nation, America, and all the leaders of this land. And we ask you, Lord, to just be with the leaders here of this organization. We give you praise and glory for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Walton, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Please join me as we salute our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. So we're going to recognize a few of the people we have in the room that are our dignitaries. John Browning, Florida Transportation Commission. John is in the chair for that. Leota Wilkinson, Board of County Commission. Walton Policier, Board of County Commission. Rick Surency, Superintendent of Schools. Phil Leary, Chair of our School Board. Charles Overturf, our Supervisor of Elections. Do we have any new people who are here for the first time tonight? If you're here for the first time, if you would raise your hand. So glad to have you all here. Hope you enjoy it. Please come back next month and consider joining. So we'd love to have you. Veterans. Do we have any veterans in the room? I know we have a number of veterans. If you'll please let us recognize you by standing. Thank you. We appreciate your service. And I think, who was Navy? Les, you were Navy. So did anyone see the 250th celebration of the Navy this past weekend? It was spectacular. And if you have not seen it, I think they've got it on YouTube. You can go Google it and watch it. It is an amazing event. A couple of announcements. Ann Miller tonight is doing double duty. One is she's selling raffle tickets, so she hasn't cornered you somehow, some way. She probably will before the night's over. The other is she's selling some really spectacular swag over here. We've got some jewelry, we've got some Trump hats. She might have a few other things, so please see her if you're interested in buying something. And then we have Les and Savannah have on some special shirts. If you guys will stand up, show your shirts. The Freedom shirts. Les, or Savannah, you want to tell people about them and how they can get a shirt?
Yeah, so it's on our Facebook page, has a link where you can go on the website and choose which size you would like. We have already placed an order for a bunch of shirts and anticipate selling one. So you can click on it. They should be here around October 20-something? 26th, about the 26th. Typically, like when we have our events, the idea is everyone has the same shirts on. We go out to certain events that we're going to do and stuff like that. So it's really easy. I actually ordered another one tonight just to check it out, see how simple it was. It's really easy. So,
And how much are they?
$20 a piece. So it's not like we're making a fortune off these things, but a lot of this money is going to be set toward the enclosed trailer. We're trying to purchase a trailer to haul all of our goods around and get it out of our garages. So we're trying to find something. If anybody has an enclosed trailer that's not too expensive, we surely appreciate any help you can give.
Yeah, so we have, I saw Candy nodding her head yes. She understands the having your house filled with stuff. My house is filled with stuff. Larry and Buddy's house are filled with stuff. So we have lots of stuff, and we always have to try and call around each other who's got what and who can bring what because we got so much stuff. So it'd be great to have an enclosed trailer. We can keep it all in one spot and then haul it from place to place when we have our various events. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Well, we're going to go ahead and get right into the meeting with our guest speaker. Buddy, if you'll come up and introduce our speaker.
I always enjoy introducing them, but Dr. Mussoline is so cool. I don't think I have any pictures of her out there in her work boots and her hands down in the dirt, but that is what she does. She does some great things for this county. So we would give a big round of applause for Dr. Mussoline.
Had my rubber boots on earlier in the mud. But right now I have my, I'm a little taller. Okay. Right now I have my cowboy boots on that say UF, so go Gators.
Yes, sir.
We had an amazing game. I was there, which is a blessing. Living in Putnam County, I get to go back to the home games quite often, and boy, that was a great one. So I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about agriculture today, a little bit about our extension office. If you don't know who we are, Putnam County Agriculture Extension. We are funded by University of Florida, partially, and Putnam County Board of County Commissioners, the other half. So I get 2 paychecks, which is great. One comes from the state, one comes from the county. Get state benefits, which is great. But I really am enjoying this job. I've been here since 2017. I've been the director at our extension office since 2023. So it'll be 2 years in December, and that has been a blessing. So I do a lot, and I do something different every day. I just kind of wanted to pick some highlights, and I hope that y'all enjoy this. I did want to introduce myself just a little bit. Does anybody recognize this? That is Lake Apopka. And that's where my career started, in the Water Management District, way back when they were purchasing all these farms from the farmers and restoring that land on the North Shore of Lake Apopka. So I got to work with the district while they were doing that and actually be a consultant over all the cleanup of those farms. So even though I've only been in extension for 8 years, my whole career has really centered around agriculture. I was in Italy for my PhD, did that for 3 years. I lived on a rice farm in northern Italy, just south of Milano, and we were making biogas out of rice straw. We were mixing it with piggery waste, and boy, was that an exciting season, we'll call it. And then I came back and did my postdoc at UF, because that's where my bachelor's and master's had come from. So I went back to UF and just did some really cool stuff, but I started working a lot with sweet potatoes. And I learned a lot about that crop. And so when I moved into extension, I said, well, shoot, potato farmers, well, why don't they grow sweet potatoes? Well, I want to share a little bit about that with you guys as I get into this talk. It's not so easy just to start growing a sweet potato when you grow potatoes. But I learned a lot about that. And I tell you something, I have learned something every single day in this job. The farmers are brilliant people. And I tell you, they're probably not in their fields today because they can't work when the rain is like this. Their tractors get stuck in the fields. So, you know, we don't think about it that much when we go to an office or when we're inside, but when they're in the field every single day. And the other thing I like to tell people about our farmers is, you know, they get about 1 paycheck a year. Our farmers make one paycheck a year, and we get a paycheck. I actually get paid every 2 weeks, which is awesome. But when something like this out here happens, and it's right during their harvest, and their harvest gets beat up by hail or whatever happens, it hurts them. It hurts them, and I have such an utmost respect for our farmers, and I just really want you, if you hear nothing else from me tonight, is just please respect our farmers and do everything you can politically to support their needs. This is a little bit about my accomplishments since 2017. I stay busy, whether I'm blogging or YouTubing or out in the field, 662 site visits in the last few years, and group teaching events, engaged about 7,500 people, raised over $130,000 in grants for Putnam County, and so I do stay busy. I love my site visits. I mean, I probably do a site visit a week or more because I learn something every time I'm in the field. Dr. Engel is our dean in the University of Florida. He has recognized me several times, whether I'm working on the sweet potato crop with Danny Johns. We worked with the eggplant in Spring Ranch down in Crescent City, and we were using eggplant peels to feed the cattle. Worked with L&M quite a bit on their soil moisture sensors, and we were growing cabbage on plastic and some stuff like that. I want to give y'all kind of an overview of what the agriculture scene looks like in Putnam County, and then I'll just key in on just a few of my passionate areas. But this is the ag statistics. So this is specifically for Putnam County. This is what that number of acres from 2017. We did grow in our farm acreage. Now we didn't grow in our crop acreage. You can see that in 2017, 16% of those that farmland was in vegetable crops, while it's only 10%. So we've definitely lost our vegetable cropping systems in terms of acreage. And then our pasture acreage has gone down a little bit. Woodland has gone up, so we have a little bit more in pines. And but I am thrilled. I think it's a good trend to see acreage in agriculture going up. And these are just statistics from the USDA. Whether they're perfectly accurate or not, I cannot verify that. And USDA is shut down, or they share an office with us, and they haven't been there since the first. So I can't even ask them what they think about it. But this is how they report in Putnam County the economic impact of agriculture. 35 million back in 2017 from our crops, from our vegetable crops, and 62 million in 2022 is what they reported. So a little less on the pasture. Even though there's more pasture land, you don't make as much on cows as you do on crops, right? These are our cash crops. This is really our bread and butter in Putnam County. You know, we've got cabbage, we've got broccoli. We do a lot of floriculture, magnolias, fern. Potatoes are a big one. There are 60 acres of sweet corn in the ground right now, and if you haven't been to the fruit market to taste that sweet corn, you need to get there. That's being grown right here in East Palaca with Singleton and Son Farms. It's an obsession, which is a bicolor sweet corn, and I know that County Line might not agree with me, but let me tell you, you bite into that bicolor, super sweet stuff that they've been producing, and it's just kind of something that's been bred recently. You're gonna see an amazing difference in some of the older varieties the Silver Queen and that kind of thing. So get to the fruit market, try that out. Let me talk a little bit about potatoes, okay? That is what we grow most in Putnam County. Potatoes, this is a potato crop. This is a sweet potato crop. They're as different as night and day. We got nightshade and we have morning glory. and with my background in sweet potato and the way it grows like a weed and the nutrition that it promotes, I thought, why not get our farmers in Putnam to start growing sweet potatoes? And they thought that was a good idea too. But then we really got into this and realized this is a whole different deal. It's just because they grow under the ground, it does not mean this is the same crop whatsoever. First of all, they take a lot longer. That's about a 5-month crop, whereas a potato crop, 3 months, in the ground from seed to harvest is 3 months. Sweet potato, you're looking at 120, sometimes 150 days. But it is an off season, right? So you can plant potatoes, harvest in May, plant January, harvest in April, and then put sweet potatoes in the ground and keep them in until Thanksgiving. I got a few videos for you. This is just a little 2-row planter that we're planting potato seed out in Hastings. We like to get the kids out there once a year, and they do the 4-H planting. But you can see very little labor involved in planting a potato, which is awesome. It's all mechanized. But if you were to plant a sweet potato, those are slips. So you have to plant the slip. There's no root. You don't plant the actual bulb. You plant a slip, which grows out of the bulb. And so this just thought you would appreciate the intensity that this requires, how much slower this is, and how many people are involved in like planting a sweet potato versus a potato. And we did it. I mean, I worked with the Singleton boys, and I'll highlight a little bit of that. We grew a couple acres, and Blue Sky Farms, they were really on board. They got up to about 60 acres one year. And the challenge is this. Here's another video of harvesting potatoes. I mean, we're pulling 20,000 pounds of potatoes out of the ground in 20 minutes. I mean, this is a 4-row harvester. This is, if you haven't ever seen a harvester running, you definitely need to stop in the middle of Hastings when they're harvesting potatoes and just watch, because it is an impressive sight to see 20,000 pounds come out of the ground in 10, 15 minutes. These, if you know your potato cultivars, you know these are not what you're going to eat from Idaho. This is not your bacon potato. This is not your fresh market potato. This is the potato chip. And the reason you know that is because it's all green. They do not spray or desiccate the tops of the potatoes for a chip potato, right? Because the chip potato is just going to get harvested, can be banged up, and it just goes to the processor anyway and gets chipped up and fried, and we eat potato chips. So that's a chip potato field, and that is Singleton and Sons. They're still Lay's potato chip growers. Now look at the difference here, harvesting sweet potatoes. First of all, look how slow this tractor's moving. This is literally, you're going to see this. I mean, sweet potatoes are so finicky. If you beat them up too bad, they're going to rot immediately, like a banana. Okay, like a banana. It's going to turn brown. So this is sweet potatoes being harvested. You got all the vines hanging on to the sweet potatoes. You got to be so gentle with them. You got to hand pack them. And so anyway, my reality of, hey, potato farmers, you should have 2 cash crops a year. You can sell potatoes in the spring and sweet potatoes in the fall, and you'll double your money. It is not that easy, let me tell you. Our farmers know what they're doing. They do what they're doing because they have been doing it for the majority of their lives. And I do stop here and say, you know, a chip potato grower per acre, their profit margin is about $300 per acre. So if the developers come along, which they have, and they offer them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 an acre, how long is it going to take them to catch up to do that? And so again, what does that say to me? It just gives me a tremendous amount of respect for our farmers that are dedicated to be here and dedicated to what they're doing. And I'll say this, and I've been quoted in the paper about this, if we don't have agriculture, you know, there is no culture without agriculture, right? We eat. Everything we put in our body, and all our health, it comes from what we eat. And having it fresh, having it local, having it close, getting that sweet corn right out of Singleton's field, right to the East Palatka Fruit Market, and you get to go put it in your mouth from when it went to there is so much more opportunity and nutrition for us and for our health. And so it really it makes a difference, you know, and we can continue to think that development's the best thing for Putnam County, but I continue to want to say You gotta think twice about that. If we've got farmers that are willing to take the risk that they take and endure the hardship that they take, we've got to make some different decisions here. This is a great project. So I love this project because the Singleton boys had never grown sweet potatoes, and their dad said, I'll give them 2 acres, they can go grow sweet potatoes for a year. And we got Farm to School in there. Farm to School said, we'll buy every sweet potato you grow. And so there's Todd out there learning from the boys. I taught the boys taught Todd, and then the boys went into the classroom, and we did about 7 different schools where we went in and took new varieties of sweet potato, the purple flesh sweet potato, orange flesh sweet potato, next to, the French fries, and took it in the classroom. And then the boys got to teach the kids. And I thought that was great, because then all the kids aren't like, oh, another adult is talking to me. They were so excited because they had young people talking to them. They're like, you're only 15 and you run a tractor? So I just love that project. This is another part of what we do in Putnam County. Y'all probably have been out to our muscadine farms. Hopefully you've gotten to do some you-pick blueberries. We've got dowdle peppers. Dowdle Fest is coming up November 8th, so please be on the riverfront November 8th. That's kind of a celebration of the Dowdle Pepper Culinary Fest. I just want to give you a little minute, brief. I know everybody in this county either has an orange tree in their backyard or they used to, right? Am I right? You have a connection with citrus. The citrus in Putnam County is known. I mean, it is so well known in Putnam County. In 1890, it was the agricultural commodity of Putnam County. River Street covered in citrus. What happened? 1895, big freeze came in and basically took that industry to its knees, and it took until 1910 to see those boxes go back up. That's a picture of after the freeze. I was able to find a picture showing all the citrus on the ground. It was really heartbreaking. But the picture of citrus in Florida is not good. Okay, so look at the freeze back here in the 1890s. You see the little blip, the little tiny, that's when the boxes went down, and then it started recovering in 1910. We got up to the 80s, that was our peak, almost. And then what happened, 83, y'all remember, anybody here saw snow on the ground, Putnam County? Killed our citrus. I mean, it put a hurting on our citrus in the 80s. I mean, that's when we really lost our commercial avenues for citrus in Putnam County. But the state of Florida just said, okay, we can still grow citrus. We're going to move south, and we're going to go warmer, and we can, and so they did. I mean, we got up to 300 million, just over 300 million boxes per year. And look where we are right now. We're almost where we started. It's really a sad scenario of what's happening in citrus, and it's the greening. You've heard about the greening disease. UF is working on that, and we have what we call greening tolerant varieties. If you want to plant citrus, certainly encourage you to continue to plant citrus. You might recognize this guy. He's about the only commercial guy that I know is left in Putnam County. It's still selling citrus. Anybody recognize him? No? Didn't see enough of his face? Jim Paget. Yeah, Paget Groves. That's about the only commercial citrus that I know. Now, Tater Farms, I talked to them. Now, they're just over the line. I mean, barely over the line. They're growing about 300 acres. And so there are some folks that are trying to bring citrus back. And UF is certainly working hard to produce those greening tolerant varieties, and it just has to do with what they're putting, what rootstock they're starting with, and what they're grafting on that rootstock. The sugar bell is one example of, and bingo is another example of, I think they have about 5 varieties out that they consider greening tolerant. And so that's what our farmers are working with right now. This is I love talking about Larry Corn. I love, because people call me all the time, when they're driving to the beach in the summertime and they say, "What is that pretty yellow flower out there?" I say, "Oh, that's sun hemp." "Oh, it's hemp. Is that what you smoke?" I said, "No, that's not what you smoke." But sun hemp is a legume. Okay, so after they grow their cash crops, they have to put a cover crop in the ground, right? Because or else all the soil would dissipate. And L&M Farms is one that has really embraced the sun hemp. And what it is it's a legume. And what that means is that it has the bacterial, the ability to take nitrogen out of the atmosphere and put it into the soil. And so they don't have to put as much nitrogen in their soil when the cash crop comes back. And the other benefit is sun hemp is not a host for nematodes. That's the reason they have to fumigate all their fields before they plant potatoes, is because of nematodes, but sun hemp is not a host for nematodes. And so I think that he's out there doing this on over 2,000, 3,000 acres of land is an exciting thing. This is just some of my work in livestock. I do work a lot with our livestock producers. Got a cattlemen's meeting coming up. If anybody's interested, we meet once a quarter. This was the eggplant project we did. They were cutting tops off of eggplants and peeling eggplants and throwing them in our landfill. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. This is really nutritious stuff. And it's a lot more nutritious than, Holler and Green and some of the other folks, even L&M, will give the outer leaves of the cabbage to the cattle. The problem with that is there's so much moisture in cabbage that by the time they get to the nutritional part, they're so full and bloated because of all the moisture. Whereas an eggplant, the peeling of an eggplant, what we noticed is that it has a lot more nutrition. It's drier, so they get a lot more nutrition a lot faster. I don't know if y'all recognize this guy. Probably do. He probably came and talked to y'all while he was here. He's pretty close to here. So Randy Fine Gina called me and said, "Hey, he doesn't know much about agriculture, but he really wants to hear from your farmers and what their issues are." So we got him out to Blue Sky Farms and let's see, Tater Farms, Smith Farms, Mark Jones is in there. The younger boy and the younger Parker boys are there. Potato growers, sod growers. And they had a good roundtable discussion. I was a fly on the wall there, and I got to hear what the farmers are super concerned about and the things that they want him to work on for them. Some of those things are labor. Their labor's getting sent back, and they said, "We need our labor here. You've got to make some special exceptions for the folks that work for us. Our H-2A labor is out of control. It has to be modified. Without the right labor, we can't compete." And so labor was a big one. Development's a big one. But again, that development comes down to a personal decision for the farmers, and they have to make that decision. Some of the other things we do, 4-H, we develop youth. These are all the clubs. We have 12 active clubs where we are basically trying to influence youth, equipping them to become productive members of society. And we're trying to develop workforce for agriculture professions. I work very closely with Renee Huff, with the CTE director. We get the kids out and get them on a field trip, or I would go in the classrooms to help them. We're doing different certifications that are helpful for the kids. Just this past Saturday was with Florida Power and Light, who came into our auditorium and said, "We want to train the teachers in the whole Northeast Florida to teach their kids how to get certified with drones, because we want to employ them. And if they start in their high school program, they learn how to fly drones, they get certified, then we can employ them because we're using drones all the time." And so that kind of thing is what I think is important. I'm working with the college here. We're trying to get a curriculum so that kids can come here and get agricultural degrees like they can get at ABAC. We saw that. Horticulture we have a horticulture agent in my office, Julio Perez, and he works with master gardeners. He works with homeowners. He teaches about Florida-friendly landscaping, does youth camps, and just goes around to the different community centers and teaches really on more, I was talking to you from more of a commercial agricultural perspective. He works with some homeowners. And I just thought I'd show you this. You may not be aware of who has been in this position in the past. And I've got really big shoes to fill because these are some pretty amazing folks. If you've been down to the courthouse and you recognize the Hubert Maltby stone right there in front of the big Maltby oak, they call it, and that's named after him. He spent 20 years since starting in 46 in our ag community as the County Extension Director of Extension. Tommy Clay Sr. put some time, and John Eubanks, Austin Tilton, we just lost him this year. I think we did. He dedicated his life to Extension, and boy, did he do a fantastic job. And Edsel was there for a little while. My predecessor, Sharon Tree, she was fantastic. Now, she was the only director that was not trained in agriculture. But let me tell you, she was a powerful leader, and I still call her every week, and fortunately, she's still a mentor for me. And so it's just an honor to be here. I look forward to who's next. I don't know, who knows how long our seasons last. I have loved this season of my life, and I have just been blessed to be a part of it. But anyway, I just want to share a touch of that. I hope that was interesting for you guys. And if you want to talk to me at the Extension office, you walk in and somebody's going to greet you. 8 to 5, our office is open. I'm in the field a lot. I may not be there if you don't have an appointment with me, but that's really all I wanted to share. Yeah.
How do the Singleton harvest their
Sweet potatoes or their sweet corn?
Did they have sweet potatoes?
They did.
They didn't spend a couple acres, a lot of money on it.
No, we have a sweet potato harvester at the Hastings facility. So we run a 40-acre farm, UF does, in Hastings. And so we have a lot of equipment. So since they were doing this for the first time, we let them borrow our harvester. 2 acres, it took half a day. So, yeah.
So I know you brought up development, and it is a choice that the landowner's making whether they're going to sell their land. But is there conversations going on in our local farmers about the Rural and Family Lands Trust program? Because that is a program that's available to farmers that they can go ahead and get funds where they aren't under the pressure to develop their land.
Well, I've had a little conversation with the farmers about that, and their challenge with that is it's a commitment for the rest of the land's life, and they would love to see, how about a commitment for 10 years? How about because they can't guarantee that they'll even be able to get seed for the rest of their life, and so they're scared to make a lifetime commitment for that land, especially if all they've grown for the last 60 years is potatoes. And they see the industry, and they see the lack of control they have over the labor, over the fertilizer prices, over the seed and hit coming from Maine, and over the transportation issues. So I think, yes, that's a benefit, but a short term, like a 10-year commitment they could make would be really beneficial for them. It's again, just a risk. And so, yes, I know they know it's out there, and I think that there are advantages to that, but it's also a risk. It's a scary thing to commit, say, oh, I gotta do this the rest of my life.
Wendy, thanks for presenting tonight. And thanks for talking about our drones. We actually the school district's actually licensing drone kids to fly drones now, so that's a great opportunity. I was gonna ask you, how is agriculture using artificial intelligence now? Because that's a big word now.
It is a big word, and UF came over and they wanted to partner with the college on this ag tech, kind of like an ag tech certificate. And so they want to know, so we took them out to L&M farms and we took them to Tater farms. And I would say those 2 farms are probably on the leading edge of our AI. And if you go out to Tater, they have about 9 tractors that are driverless tractors operated solely on GPS, and mowers that are mowing by themselves and just being programmed to go where they're supposed to go. Drones are a big deal. Drones are applying pesticides these days, and I consider that AI. AI is a big word. And so what does AI encompass? I mean, our soil moisture sensors, all our farmers are using soil moisture sensors so that they don't have to know exactly what this rain is going to do to their irrigation, scheduling. So I would say there's a lot of automation in agriculture, which is why the farmers can produce twice as much as they could even 20 years ago. The number of bags they can produce this year versus 20 years ago has at least doubled because of the efficiency where agriculture has come.
Hey, Wendy, I'm excited about the purple sweet potatoes. Where do we get them? Because nobody has them.
I know, because they stopped growing them, because our biggest challenge, I showed you some of the challenges, I don't know if you picked up on that, but it is a very difficult thing to start growing a brand new crop. And the market, Danny Johns finally told me, Wendy, I got them in Walmart one year and it was just so challenging and they just found problem after problem after problem and I'm done. So unfortunately, we are not growing any purple flesh sweet potatoes in our area. And I can't tell you we're going to grow them in the future. I can tell you I partner real closely with NC State, and I guarantee you can find them in North Carolina, but you're not going to find them in Florida. Our growers are just not going to commit to it. So for the market reasons, not for the lack of nutrition, and not for the taste, not for the quality, but you're going to have to go to North Carolina and get them.
I get them in the market.
Do you? Okay, maybe some kind of ethnic market. Yeah.
You fill us in. When I first came here, I had a little box that was putting the virus in the citrus. Can you fill us in as to what the research has done? And you said you want to have citrus back in the county. Last I heard, that was a problem.
Well, I think the last big thing that they did for the public was they released the wasp, right? The biological agent that was supposed to eat the psyllids to stop the greening. I think that was not very successful. They do not do that program any longer. I think their best effort, this is where they are at this particular moment from my understanding, is what they've bred, these what they call greening tolerant. They do not call them greening resistant. They call them greening tolerant varieties that can go through the greening and come out of the greening. So they might look like poo for a year, maybe a year and a half when they get the greening, but they can and have the ability to come through it, and they are changing their fertility recommendations. Lots more micronutrients. They have doubled that. If you go buy a citrus fertilizer that is compared to what it was 10 years ago, you're going to have double the micronutrients in that blend. And they're applying it every other month versus 4 times a year because that root system is strained when it has the greening. So they're just dealing with it from fertility and breeding and genetics. Those are the ways that they're attacking greening.
Any updates on the screwworm issue that's affecting the cattle industry?
The last I heard is it really has not made its way into the United States, which is a blessing, but they do have a facility in Texas that is producing, or they're trying to get it up and ready to produce all of the mosquitoes that they need to produce. And or the flies. They produce, not mosquitoes, I'm sorry about that. It's the fly, but it's a sterile fly, because the screwworm, this was fascinating to me when I learned this, the screwworm can only breed one time in its life. Now, what other fly on earth only breeds one time? But the screwworm only breeds one time, and so if they release all of these sterile, which is how they dealt with it when it was back here way long ago. And so what my understanding is, they are getting that ready. It's in Texas, and that facility is supposed to be ready to release, and I'm talking about millions of flies on a weekly basis, sterile flies, so that when they breed one time, they sterilize those flies to prevent the spread. It's a nasty disease that can be transmitted to humans, and it will kill the cattle industry very quickly if it's spread. But at this point, my knowledge from the University of Florida is it has not left Mexico. It's in the wide part of Mexico, not the skinny part, so it's definitely moved up. But that they're preparing those facilities up in Texas to deal with that, and that's all I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Texas and Florida in the same sentence. Who's going to win the A&M games?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm just going to celebrate last Saturday. Okay. Thank y'all so much, and thank you for the prayer. I really appreciate it.
Wendy, thank you. But before you sit down, we have a award-winning woodworker within our midst who made you a gift. So,
Thank you.
so thank you to David Miner.
Ooh, isn't that beautiful?
So if you all don't know
I'm going to make it a bowl of citrus.
So if you all don't know, when we have the county fair, there's different arts and crafts that are you can put on display, and David puts his woodworking out, and he's won some awards in the last couple of years, so he made her that bowl. So thank you, David. Get my notes here. I've got a couple of notes for you all. Remember, next month is our election of officers at the November meeting, and you want to come up and talk about our speaker for next month?
Actually, I never know what she's going to have me come up here and speak on. But our next speaker is somebody we don't really know much about, and his name's Gator Deloach. Well, everybody in here, I assume everybody in here's been to jail. You know, that's one of the things he asked me when I became a commissioner. He also in the office, and he goes, "Have you ever been to the new jail?" I says, "No, sir, I've never been to the old jail. I've never been to the new jail. I just always trying to stay away from there." But anyway, he's going to come. He's going to tell all the stuff he's got going on, and I want to take this moment. Thank you. I don't think enough people know what goes on in this county, but I honestly see her all the time in her boots out there working. That's where she does. Anyway, is there anything else I need to cover?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Nope. Yeah, we live in East Palatka, so we over near Federal Point. So we have groves, we have fields right across from us, and we see the planes fly over and the crop dusters. And we were actually delivering food one day for our church. We deliver food, and there are actually some mobile homes that are out on this runway, and you have to drive down the runway to get to these trailers to deliver this food. And there's just signs that say, "Watch for planes." And you literally have to watch for planes because you never know when they're going to come swooping in. But it's interesting living out there for sure. Going back to thinking about Gator Deloach, I wanted to let you all know, have a message for you all from Alex Sharp. As you all know, Alex is the attorney for the sheriff's office, and he is going to apply for a position to fill, hopefully to fill Judge Morris's seat. And so he's going to be making application for that appointment. And so he wanted everyone's thoughts and prayers as he moves forward with that process. So I told him I would share with everyone. And he will be here next month as well when we're meeting. Also, we have a surprise visit next month. I got a call yesterday from our dear friend Bobby Payne. Bobby is going to be joining us next month at our meeting, and he's bringing Paul Renner with him. And if you all are familiar with Paul Renner, he's the former Speaker of the House. He is timed out, just like Bobby timed out, and he's now running for governor. So he's going to actually be one of our first candidates that are coming to speak with us. And so he will be given, just like any other candidate, 10 minutes, even though he's running for governor. We set our standards years ago that candidates get 10 minutes to chat. Now, if we have questions for him, we can ask questions after that, but so he will be here with us as well. And we'll put out some more information. Please be sure to mark your calendars for the upcoming events. And if you have one of these sheets on your table, there's something new, Liberty on the River at Renegades. It's October the 26th, which is a Sunday. It's from 1 to 3. If you all haven't seen that on social media, it's like a tribute to Charlie Kirk. And if you all mark your calendar and come, Larry Harvey is working with Renegades to see what we could maybe help them with for that, and so we'll know more later.
What's the date?
It's October 26th, which is a Sunday afternoon, 1 to 3. Okay? Everyone's having a yard sale November the 1st, 9 to 2. So if you'll mark your calendar, we're going to have 2 booths. One booth where we're going to be selling some swag, and another booth where if you're a candidate and running for office, please bring your palm cards or bring your petitions, and you will have a place there that we will have for you to have petitions signed. So I see, Larry, you're shaking your head. I think Larry has committed. We reached out to some of the others that are running this time, and some of people have replied and some have not. I think Tom Leake is actually going to have his own booth next to ours, and I believe Paul Renner is going to have a booth next to ours. So we'll have a row of at least 3 or 4 Republican booths, so we'll be well represented there. The REC's next meeting is September 27th at Beck headquarters. It's the last Monday of the month if you want to mark your calendars. I'm sorry, October. Yeah, I put September on that, didn't I? Sorry about that, typo, October. Our board meeting is November the 6th at Beck's headquarters, and our next month's meeting, of course, November the 13th. Other than that, I think that covers all the business we had to talk about tonight. Is there anything else anyone would like?
Where is the everyone's having a yard sale? What's the location?
It's Pomona Park. It actually covers, it's 2 actual locations. David, what are the names of the locations again? The Mayor's Park and the Cow Catchers, but it's sort of like it kind of bleeds over, and it's a long, about a mile or so long. And the years we've been there before, I mean, they've had thousands of people there, literally. It's really a great event if we have good weather. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Anything else? If not, I thank everyone for your time tonight being here and braving the weather again. And thank you, Wendy, so much for your presentation. It was terrific. I'm excited to see if we get oranges again. So I'm looking forward to that. Now we're going to actually officially adjourn this meeting and then have our 50-50 drawing. Miss Ann is getting the last few sales in. And don't forget our Christmas party. Our Christmas party this year, we're going to have actually the Ag Center, that back room where we usually have voting. We're going to be meeting back there, gathering for a few minutes and have a little bit of social time. And then we're going to walk in through the back gates of the fairgrounds and go to the is it called Nights of Lights or Festival of Lights, I think it's called, which is going to be a great event.